Okay, well, I guess we're going to start. I think people will probably continue to come in, and I'll repeat a little bit the instructions as we begin. Thank you all for coming. This was really, it's just Monday morning. It was like, we got to do something. We as a community need to really show up. I keep getting these little emails of breathe, and I'm like, oh, there's so much more that we can do than just, breathe out and stuff. And so I really wanted to invite you all to this meeting to kind of as a brainstorm. And I structured it as a brainstorm for a reason. I really want this for us to be able to share what we think can help, share ideas and things that we have used that we think would be really applicable here that we've used somewhere else. And this meeting is not intended at all for like one individual to spend half the meeting, talking about themselves or how much they know. It's really about the community sharing. I wanted to propose that anyone who has any ideas or techniques they use or anything inspirational or something we need to really keep as a mindset, to have 5 minutes plus minus 2 minutes to really explain briefly but in detail a technique they think we could all use that would be really useful. It can be any kind of mind-based technique. So if it's hypnosis or NLP or something that is using the mind, how to really help people. I wanted, what I thought about is, because there's many areas that the corona is affecting. Because the question we need to ask ourselves is, with this coronavirus, what are the challenges, right? Is it really just the virus and what the virus does to the body? Or do we need to think about all the things that people are presenting? In my own office, I have people that are extremely emotionally stressed, anxious. I'm seeing it on Facebook. People are, talking about, oh, I've got tingles, after watching the news. We really want to help them with that, really give them resilience. We want to look at addressing those that are getting sick or fear getting sick and really help them fortify their physical health. And we want to really address this social, isolation and the uncertainty of what's going to happen. And what I propose is that anyone who would like to share, we'll go one by one. I'll try to open my screen so I can see everyone. So please just raise your hand. There's a little hand raising on Zoom. And we can just kind of do popcorn style. I'll be giving everyone 5 minutes, 5 plus minus 2 minutes, but just so that we really have time to share as many different ideas and suggestions that we have. Again, this is not about promoting, oh, you guys just have to go and do this protocol and learn this. It's not about that. It's really about giving the rest of your colleagues hands-on, techniques that they can use tomorrow, directly. So let me open up my Zoom and completely so I can see everyone that's here. And so would anyone like to start? I have Karen. Yes, and do you have anything you'd like to share?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, thank you so much for doing this, for one. I think that's wonderful support for everybody. And, one thing that I'm doing with my clients is to really help them strengthen their immune system by visualization, really going through the body, seeing the cells light up. I have them start with kind of a waterfall of light to clear away their negativity and anxiety, and then really let in the life force and let the cells light up, see the immune system lighting up, and just kind of creating a protective cocoon. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Oh, great. So kind of creating a cocoon of protection, both of protection but also of bringing in the life force. So there is a sense of strengthening the immune system while at the same time creating kind of a bubble or a sphere around them that can give a sense of I'm safe, I'm protected, and then there is just nature around me, and have them fill it with light and with a color that they find really soothing and healing, and seeing themselves really healthy and safe as they go through the day. So I think really empowering the client to strengthen their immune system, to have a sense of being able to take charge, because everybody's so feeling out of control, which, this is not in our control, yet we can take charge of our own response, of our visualization, of calming our anxiety. So I think, strengthening the immune system as well as calming the anxiety and giving a sense of there is something that you can take charge of.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to take too much time here, but
yeah, no, it's not used. 5 minutes is actually a lot of time. I know
okay.
myself. So even if, and even if anyone, as they explain their thing, you can even have us all close our eyes and just briefly, but very quickly, as you go through the whole thing, it's kind of like you get I get it. I get what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that, So it's just, let's just take a breath together.
Mm-hmm.
And just any thoughts about the day, any anxiety, just kind of, letting that be put aside. And I'd like you to visualize a waterfall of light that is just washing over you and clearing away the anxiety, clearing away the fear, clearing away stress, and just taking you into a place of calm, connecting with the breath, connecting with yourself and your inner resources. And then taking that light that's washing over you and that's clearing away the negativity, now letting that become the life force that flows through all of nature, and breathe it into your body. Let every one of your cells light up with that light, as if you were switching on a light switch, just letting the light come in, the life force, the support, and seeing that light flow through your entire body, or feel it. You don't even have to see it. Just having that light be present within you and awakening your immune system to its full function, lighting up. And all around you, visualize, like a cocoon of light, a very safe space that is filled with the same energy, the same light, and it keeps out unwanted influences and energies. And just fill that cocoon with a color that is very soothing and healing to you. That is your personal space. That is your protective space. And at the border of that space, just imagine a beautiful green garden which nurtures and supports you and gives you protection throughout your day. And you can even take a moment right now and just see yourself go through your day and imagine yourself protected and safe, calm, and very healthy. And just breathe that deeply into the very core of your being. Plant it there. And as you gently come back into the room, this will continue to stay with you even after this moment is over, while you're sleeping and dreaming. And as you come back, you will be awake, alert, and very present.
Thank you, Karen. See, that was 5 minutes. That was perfect. And
that
that
really
gives, no, it was perfect. And it really I don't know about the rest of you. It really gives you like, oh, I see what we're doing, for ourselves and the clients and family. Yeah, it really helps.
Yes, good. You're
Thank
very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Anyone else have any suggestions to work with the body, the immune system, to work on the fear or the uncertainty and of these times? Yeah, Judy, let me unmute you. Yes, hello. Oops. I think you're there. Hello, Judy.
Hi, Eva. Thanks for doing this.
Yes.
I just want to share a personal experience. I had been avoiding the coronavirus news initially until a friend started filling me in with the details of the severity of it. And so then I started paying attention to the news like I never did before. And what happened was I got anxiety pretty bad and broke out in a rash, which I suppose is eczema. And so I treated that with the cream from my doctor. And then today I had to go to the store. I had been avoiding the store for a week. And I went to Target to get a couple things. And once again, I found myself with incredible anxiety. And I said, okay, I don't like this. I know what to do. So I just brought myself into the present moment and said, I have everything I need right now. Right now I'm healthy. And then I also had to work on trust and my belief system. And then I asked my angels for help because I didn't want to go through that anxiety anymore. So then after lunch, I went down to Costco in Sand City and to return some things. And I found that by trusting and wearing my mask and gloves, I was much better. I didn't have that anxiety that I had this morning. So that's what worked for me. Those just bringing myself in the present moment, trusting, and that's about it.
Good. Thank you, Judy. I'm seeing some more people coming in. This meeting really is a brainstorm. If there's anything you'd like to share, a technique, some knowledge, something that you really want to share with your, with your colleagues here. We don't really want to promote anything. It's more like this is an example of what I've been using. And we have 5 minutes, or plus minus 2 minutes, which is actually plenty of time. I was timing myself as well, and to share for the rest of us. If anyone wants to raise their hand or just unmute themselves. Yeah, Tony.
Well, I came to this meeting kind of as more of a person who was going to watch and listen. And as you opened it up more to non-hypnotic kinds of interventions, I was thinking about this idea of the victim, rescuer, persecutor triangle, and getting out of that. This is so victimizing that we just naturally want to slip into that, and that we feel persecuted by this virus, persecuted by the people that are calling the shots and saying, stay home, or we've canceled this event or that event. And when we can remove ourselves from that kind of victimization, I think, and see ourselves as people who can create our environment, make choices, I guess, is probably the key there about how we spend our time and what we focus on, that's just critically important to surviving this and feeling that we have some power in this and not just being a victim.
How would you apply this triangle if you were speaking to a client who's coming in as a victim? How would you help them apply that and move out of that?
Well, I think that I would talk with them about what they're feeling, so that they can get good and grounded in that reality, and then begin to move them into recognizing that they do have some choice over this, that they could move into more of a creator stance rather than a victim stance, that they could create something about this. And what could they create about it? So coach them into thinking about what are some options that I have. Maybe one option is that I don't have to just stay hunkered down in my house all day, but I could go outside and walk around, or I could, call a friend and talk with them, not to share, gloom and doom stories, but to maybe even just help them kind of focus on what's something good that's going on in their life, and help them kind of refocus.
Yeah, so it would be like applying a coaching and really letting them realize they're falling into that and questions so that they can get more resourceful in the other areas of the triangle. Yeah. Thank you.
Be curious about, for the hypnotist, how that might be applied hypnotically, but maybe that's for another day.
Yeah, it reminds me, it's almost like a story. Does anyone have any? Yes, Thomas.
Hi, my name's Lori. I go by LA sometimes. Yeah, this is really, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is really great. So I've been a caregiver and I do hypnotherapy. So I've been really working on my immune system already. Like I was already taking, before all this happened, I've been taking supplements and watching what I eat and eating healthy. And thank God I've been doing that, because that's been helping me. Like, I already know how to do that. That's so important to keep your immune system up, not just your mind, but it's the body, mind, and the soul, right? And so in the morning, I take selenite. I use crystals. I take selenite and I say, I release all energy that does not serve me, all negativity that surrounds me, and all fear that holds me back. And I just take the selenite and I go over my body. And you can do that with sage when you're burning sage too. And I've been doing more of this. And at night or in the evening, sometimes I'm just tired and I don't want to really work hard at meditating. I'll listen to chanting music like Satnam Kar, really yoga type chanting music. And it just relaxes me and I go into the Zen state. And it's the more that I listen to, like I'll listen to 3, then I'll listen to 5 songs or 7. The more buzz I get, like that Zen feeling, and it's wonderful. I wish I could just do it all day long, and I guess I could now,
Yeah, with more time.
Yeah, so that's just some of the things.
Yeah, how would you apply it to a client? How would you share that with a client?
Well, I'd first ask them where they're at, and see, what's going on with them, and just ask them if these are things that they would like to do, because some people might not want to listen to music. And I would just offer suggestions and what works for me, and then I would go through it with them. If it was in person, I do a lot of phone sessions and Skype sessions. I do that more than in-person sessions. And I would just go through it with them and I would probably, during hypnosis, I would take them on a journey and put it in the hypnosis and incorporate it in the hypnosis.
So you would incorporate what you do in the morning, the cleansing?
Yeah, but if that's what they wanted to do, because I usually, I don't push things on anybody unless they're okay with it. Because some people might not like crystals, but you can use anything. You could just use your mind, and wave your hands over your body, like pushing away energy. Yeah, so that's how.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, Lisa.
I don't know how to raise my hand, but
You
I
got it.
unmuted
And
myself.
Nancy, I think, will come afterwards. Yes.
Thanks. And thank you so much for doing this, Eva. And
Yeah.
it's so nice to be here with everybody. I'm really enjoying everybody's ideas in this brainstorming session. It's hard to generalize because, of course, we go by a case basis. And I think that pretty much all of us have the intuitive ability to be able to shift and change and address whatever is happening in the moment with our clients. So a couple of things that pop into mind as we're talking about this is the NLP submodalities exercise. Who was it? Anthony, you were talking about choice, and obviously we can teach our clients and that they have a choice in how they think, the words they say to themselves, the thoughts and images they create in their mind that has an effect on their emotional states. And so sometimes people come in with strong emotional things happening, and we need to follow the emotions, addressing any past traumas. And other times it's obvious to me that they're really creating a lot of their fear and anxiety with the way that they're thinking about things. And so one of the things that I like to do is teach people to be more mindful of the images that they're actually creating in their mind.
Can you walk us through that so that we can get a little bit of a full sense of what that would be?
Yeah. Without like a full, NLP training, I know there's probably a lot of people out there who do have some NLP training, but what I typically will do is I'll just have people close their eyes, think about a pleasant memory, and then I walk them through what you see, what do you hear, what do you feel, and I get into the specifics. Is it in black and white? Is it fuzzy? Is there movement? Is it still? Is it multiple images? Is it one big panoramic? Are you seeing it out your own eyes, just like life really is? Or are you watching yourself in this scene? And so that would be some of the visual. And then I go into the auditory and then start asking if they're feeling things in their body. And I usually have them pick something that's pleasant, but not ecstatic. And then I have them leave that memory for a moment, and let's just visit another memory. And this is going to be something that is unpleasant, something that's possibly a little annoying or irritating, but nothing really strong, something that's maybe a level 2 or 3 out of 10 on an emotional scale. And I go through the same list, and I notice the differences between the two. And oftentimes what happens is people who are having difficulty with they're scaring themselves, basically, is they are associating with the negative, scary thoughts and images, or in this case, irritating or annoying memory. And then they're disassociating with the pleasant one and the positive memory. And so that's one of the things I do is teach them, no. Anytime you're having a scary thought about what could happen in the future, you disassociate from that. Step out of your body. Notice, first of all, that you are creating those images in your mind. If I say, don't think of a pink elephant with purple polka dots, you do, we all do, all the time. It's just that most people aren't aware of that. So I teach them to disassociate, make it black and white, put a gray screen over it, put a frame around it, make it smaller, hurl it at the sun, watch it explode. And then with the positive, happier thoughts about what maybe they want to have happen in the future, teaching them to really get into the feelings, being fully associated in their body, brighten the colors, make it vivid, make it real. So it's just one small, thing.
Teaching them to disassociate with all this anxiety stuff and fear, have it out there, and
it pulls them, Yes, it pulls them out of the victim.
Yeah.
And it gives them a sense of empowerment. That they can take an active role in their experiences. It puts them in the eye of the storm instead of in the storm itself.
Yeah.
So just one idea.
Yeah.
And the other thing I did is I created an audio that I'm sharing on with my email group, which is free to, and it addresses the coronavirus stuff. And it was kind of eerily similar to what Karen shared.
Yes.
I was like, so similar.
So it's also, I mean,
We're
what
all
are the
connected.
what are the pieces that you make sure you include, that you think are important to include in a, visualization that we send to our community?
Let's see. The waterfall is wonderful. Some kind of cleansing. Let's see. I had people imagine divine light coming in, filling up their body, filling up the cells. And then there's a lot of language in there about the warrior white blood cells being stealthy, being able to detect any foreign visitors. I was careful not to engage the imagery of a war happening in the body, like foreign invaders and attacks, and I try not to use that kind of language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that their immune system is strong and capable. I give a lot of impressions and languaging around that they're in the eye of the storm, very calming. And then I have them actually have that light come in and fill up their thymus gland and their throat and their esophagus, their windpipe, all the way down into the lungs, all the way down into all the tiny little air sacs within the depths of the lungs, the alveoli, filling it with light, opening, expanding, breathing, so they can breathe easier now. So there's a lot of languaging in there about making breathing easier as well. And then the future pacing, future imagery. It's a lot more to it. It's like 40 minutes long, but that's the basis of it. And it reminded me of Karen. So giving them that sense of safety, the calm, that they're healthy, they're strong, and their body is working for them. Their body is strong and capable. Their immune system is working for them. All the warrior white blood cells are keeping them safe and strong. I've probably taken more than 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing the two methods.
Sure.
Anyone else would like to share? Yes, Nancy, yes.
Hi, this reminds me of, I had some clients after the last election who felt very fearful. So I'll give one example, and I keep it really basic because this is a feeling of fear.
Yeah. Can you walk us through it? I think kind of like imagining it just really gets us into it.
There was one man, and so when I said, "So how are you feeling?" And he said, "I feel like they're just going to take us all the way on a train, and we have no control." And I'm also a past life therapist, so I knew I could go that way, but let's just keep it simple. And I said, "And how are you feeling before this election?" And he goes, "Well, I had a company. I sold it for $58 million to Microsoft. Everything was just great." Because you want them to start remembering who they are and when they're doing really well. So I did a very simple parts therapy where I said, "Okay, so just say that again. They're going to just take us away. We have no power, and just say it again and again. And now where do you feel it in your body?" And they go, "Oh, I feel it." He would say, "Oh, I feel it right here in such and such." All right. So we know that every part has a positive intention. So if that feeling right there in your, whatever, your stomach, had a color, what color would it be? Oh, it's orange and red. Like, okay. And if it had texture, what texture would it be? Really jagged. If it had a shape, what shape would it be? Really like a diamond, pointed diamond. And I go, well, let's just imagine that it has a name. What's its name? Oh, its name is Bad Tiger or something like that. You go, oh, okay. So now let's just imagine Bad Tiger can rise up about 6 inches from where it is in your stomach right now. So just go ahead and do that. Then I say, thank you, Bad Tiger, for coming here, because we know that every part has a positive intention. Because really, you know what? We're dealing with very old fears that are just being catalyzed by what's going on. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Bad Tiger, what's your positive intention for so-and-so? What is it that you do for him? And you've probably been doing it for a really long time, haven't you? What is it that you do? Oh, I keep him safe. Oh, well, he's been doing pretty well as an adult. He's pretty safe. He's been very successful. And so he doesn't really need to be scared in his stomach right now. We know you've been helping him for a long time. Is there some new job that you could have that would be more helpful to him to remember how great it is to sell a company, create a company and sell it? And now he's got his horse farm and he's got everything that he wants and they've just built a new house. Would you rather help him do that? Oh, yes, I would. Oh, great. Well, if you did that, what color would you be? Oh, I'd be like a sky blue with white clouds. Okay, and what kind of texture would you have? Really fluffy and soft, but strong. And what kind of texture would you have? You just re-ask those. And would you like to have a new name? Yes. Oh, what would that be? Friendly tiger, whatever, teddy bear, Okay, good. So go ahead now to the client and bring that back in to that stomach area. And just see how that feels as it moves through your whole body now. That you are now, as an adult, that very successful person with your horse ranch, and you got your favorite horse, Trigger, and your wife's got the beautiful whatever, and they're back to their adult reality, and they've also released something. And it's very simple because people are thinking too much, and in my opinion, I would go to like a PTSD sort of maybe script or something. But this is a really simple one, this type of parts therapy, where they kind of come back to their reality also. And it could be something they could use as a self-hypnosis as well. And they're very happy to have that teddy bear, whatever, in their stomach and stuff like that. But it's very simple. And I used it with 3 different clients during that time, and maybe saw them twice each, but then one of them would come whenever something came up, it was an old thing. Now, if they were coming for past life therapy, we'd go right to that train and we'd be going where we're going and all that kind of stuff. But right now, people are just, all their worst fears are being played on. We've got the big Uranus, Pluto Uranus, just throwing the magnifying glass on it. So let's just be who we really want to be, and we know we are, and we're happy with. That's my go-to for stuff like this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
for doing this.
Yes.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, I have definitely noticed that the fear, if you talk about it, it's not new. It's so old. It's just magnified, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's the same old stuff. And, it's stuck, and it's about an elevator in LA 15 years ago, you know, but it came right back up with this Corona thing because they're thinking I'm going to be in a tent and outside the hospital and no one's going to tend to me and I'm going to be stuck. And there they are again, you know.
Right. Well, it goes right back to,
Yeah,
it goes right back to birth because it's all hospital, ventilator. You know, these are all triggers that are very, very old.
yeah.
Thank you.
Nancy.
Mhm.
Anyone else have a technique?
Yeah,
or
I don't know how to
something?
raise my
Yes.
hand either. This is Paul.
Oh, perfect. Hello, Paul. Welcome.
I used to think there was a little hand somewhere, but I don't
There
see it.
is. I don't know. Mine doesn't
Hi,
show.
everybody. There's a little hand. I'm raising my hand. Anyway, I feel a little badly because I didn't have any time to focus on this. And as soon as I read it, I wanted to, but my phone fell apart. My computer's falling apart. And just at this time, so it gave me a really good opportunity to change my mind from the inside out. Because if just imagine all of your electronics fell apart right now, and you're in the middle of your business that you do. I do it all on Zoom right now or Skype. So what little,
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, and I feel
Mhm.
perfectly calm at this point. And going out to shop, I feel like I'm bringing a cloud of calm to that. I even talk to people and stuff, you know, from my 6 feet, and people that are seem to be just jangled. But anyway, let me just go over kind of some of my thoughts. It's not really
Yeah.
formulated real well, but you know, we all do this all the time anyway. It's not like we have to create a beautiful formula here. Everybody said great stuff so far, and any little piece can fit. Okay, so let me just kind of go over kind of little notes from my mind. I determine where the person is at in the moment. You know, we use our intuition. We do that anyway. I also have a little trick that I use. I say, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. And I tell them a little 2 sentences. And people, it's just like you pushed a button. They tell their whole inner, where they're at. They tell you their spiritual thing, they're religious. I mean, it's great because I know exactly how to talk to them. It takes like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Determine where the person's at. And I go over the following kind of areas and bring up various possibilities to focus on if this is indicated. And at any time, just remember, as I'm going through this, you can branch off using their thoughts or words to take it a whole new direction because it's based on your intuition. Just go. And that's what we do anyway. So it's not a format. It's not a protocol. It's the thread that you begin pulling. And that's what we do with everyone anyway, especially now. We need to get them away from the head into the body more, usually. So bringing people into their bodies to leave the heady and fearful mind and their states that they're often in now. Not always. I mean, a lot of people are calm. And maybe bring in ideas. Whoops.
Oh, the phone works now.
Yeah, I just hooked up my phone because my phone's not working. Sorry about that, folks.
No worries.
Okay, anyway, so we bring in ideas for them, just kind of bring a few till you see a look of recognition on their face or resonance, you know, pleasant memories, and then start having them recall how they felt, what they saw, anything they said to themselves or others might have said, if it's a dream especially, what was going on, what they heard, maybe even what they smelled.
So this is a positive.
This is a positive, and it's bringing back into the body.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you're inviting them into their bodies. You know, you're not telling them that, but you're taking them there. You're guiding them there. And then inviting them to take a little journey from the everyday and focus on the endless inner cosmos, the inner parts of themselves. And I talk about when you go inside with meditation, with calm, with relaxing, with intuition, whatever, you tap into the endless resources of the power of the universe. We have endless resources. You just have to look. You just have to go there. So you're going away from outside and going into inside.
So can you like walk us through? So we're, you know, we've gone through the induction. You've taken us to our wonderful, perfect place. And then what do you do?
Okay, then I might say things like, I want you to just imagine a time when you felt really good. Just maybe have a hammock. You're on the ocean and you're just swaying in your hammock with your eyes closed, and you can feel the sun on your skin warming. You can perhaps hear children laughing off in the distance, maybe surf, hearing the surf, and smelling that tangy salt air of the ocean. And you can just imagine how good that can feel, the sun, the calm, the relaxed state. And just feel where in your body where it feels relaxed and how different it feels than other times, perhaps. And you can just allow that to spread and grow. Maybe even feel it in your eyelids relaxing, kind of a pleasant, delicious heaviness. Or maybe your legs or arms just feel really nice, heavy, relaxed, and just calm, peaceful. And allow yourself to let your mind just begin drifting and floating and dreaming and going to those places that relaxation can take you. And to really realizing that the power of your consciousness is endless. And whatever you focus on grows and spreads. And you can interrupt patterns and create new softness, new directions, new calm, new feelings. And just let thoughts come in that take you yet to another place. And you fully realize that you've lived a whole life, but you've landed on your feet. And all those things that have happened to you, some good, some bad, you just knew most of the time that you're going to land on your feet. But the fact is you always did. Because we have an inner gyroscope that lets us heal. The universe heals a cut automatically. It knows exactly how to do it. Every cell knows what to do. It just does it. All we have to do is allow it to happen by not interfering and by helping it in any way we can. And if you just take a nice deep sighing breath and just let that out. And then maybe take another one or two. It just connects you with that deep, calm place within, where the power of the universe meets you inside, where all those resources are. It's where love comes from. It's where intuition comes from. Ideas, insights. It's where peace comes from and love. Allowing the body, mind, and spirit to respond to just going to that place for a moment, to absorb and feel that calmness, that peace, maybe a sensation of love that comes naturally and expands. It allows the brain waves to calm as you breathe to a more meditative state, and the hormones to become more soothing. And it begins to open up that place within us that has no size or space or time or place. The place of nowhereness inside of peace, of total calm and love, where everything is possible. Where thoughts, you can have new thoughts, inspirations. Maybe remember just what you need to know in that moment. To recall resources that maybe were hidden or forgotten, or maybe new ones. And to think about your whole life journey, all of the wisdom and experience that you have. Perhaps let yourself recall those good things, those times, calm and happy moments, especially the connections with friends, loved ones, and remembering that the body, the mind, and the spirit know exactly how to heal, and grow, and also to send out love and to receive love. And we naturally tend toward these things if we allow it, if we quiet ourselves. You can find more and more peace with each passing breath and with each moment. And to realize that you have more resources than you ever realized. In fact, you have enough that you can even help others that need help, not only yourself. And you're already doing more than you realize. in all of your life. And as all of this is happening, more and more changes, more and more revelations can come. And with each one is a sense of calm and control and empowerment, just knowing that you're enough, you're loved and you're loving, and that all is well in this moment. And that's all we have control over, is ourselves and how we respond to each moment. And I could go on, and I have lots of other thoughts, but that's kind of one of the formats.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
you know, I don't know if, I'm sorry, go ahead.
it's like really bringing their internal resources and remembering that they've gone through so many things.
Well, just imagine when we take people through anything, they come in, I mean, I get people coming into my office or on Zoom or whatever it is, and they look like they're, you know, jagged lightning or something. Their anxiety, they're talking about like a chipmunk really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's firing, every red flag, the body, the mind, the ideas, the thoughts, they're overwhelmed by their thoughts. You know, one thing I want to share is I've had moments of panic, or not, that may be a little strong, really high anxiety. I don't want to go into the detail because I don't want to take up a bunch of time, but I had those moments and I just realized that something I tell everybody, and I wanted to weave this in and I forgot. I tell almost everyone that I can remember, because this is powerful. The consciousness is powerful. Whatever we focus on grows and changes. Everything works with that. It's like a laser. The other thing is, all you have to do for change, all of my work really is encompassed in a very little teeny process. And that's called refocus your consciousness. So shift your thoughts to something better and take a small action. Shift your thoughts and take a small action. And that means, you know, making a phone call instead of worrying. You know, you shift your thoughts to positive. And also I talk about service a lot, because people, you know, we in this country, we of course as hypnotists know about this, but a lot of people don't realize when you do good things for people, when you think of others, it does two things right off. You're not thinking about yourself. Number two, you have to help somebody, and there's love in it. There's good stuff that just pours out of that. Plus you get all kinds of other rewards as they thank you and whatever. And you're not going after that, but it's just a side benefit. It's just like walking in the woods. You're not going after a certain thing in nature. You just get it. And that's the same thing with service. And that's what we're doing. That's why we feel good about this stuff. And
it's addictive.
So yes, it is very addictive. And I thank you for putting this on, and I thank everybody for what they've shared and what they will share, because we all, you know, can use this for our clients and for ourselves.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to share? Yes, Elaine.
Hi.
Hello.
I do a couple of things when people are very anxious and fearful. One is to create a healing space while they're in hypnosis. And the other is, when they're not in hypnosis, is to do some EFT, otherwise known as tapping.
So could you like walk us through how you would create a healing space in hypnosis, and how would they use that then outside, you know, in their everyday?
So I normally teach my patients, my clients, self-hypnosis, at least at the end of the first session. And if not, if there's not enough time, definitely during the second session. And I give them homework, and they need to do self-hypnosis for 5 minutes at the beginning and end of their day. And I will give them a few positive suggestions to read, depending on what the goal of the client was for that session. But if we're speaking about a healing space, they can do self-hypnosis to get into hypnosis, and then go into their healing space whenever they want to. If they're in a place where they're not driving or operating machinery or taking care of someone else, they can drop into hypnosis if they're feeling stressed. Then they get to a place where they find a door, and the door is as elaborate as they wish it to be. And when they enter the door, there's an invisible filter that, as they step through the filter, removes any kind of negativity or disease, internally or externally, and it leaves it behind. And they enter their healing space, and the healing space can be anything they wish. And the healing space can change depending on their needs. So it could be small, large, it could be dark, it could be light, it could be furnished lavishly. It could have music, it could have waterfalls, it could have whatever they want in there. And they go through, and of course I take them through some steps so that they can get that picture and then have that in their minds, that when they go home, they can at least step into that room that we've created together and to ramp down.
I like that little felt, that cleansing kind of filter.
Right,
Little
because
spritz.
if people do question that. It's like, well, if I go in this room, what if I bring the coronavirus in there?
Yeah.
And I say, well, it's not possible
Yeah,
because you
so having a
created
little,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
something that kind of addresses that as you go in. It picks up all the stuff you picked up.
yeah.
Good. Is there anything you use for the fears? You know, a lot of people, it's just a fear of, right, of what's going to happen, will happen this or that.
Yeah. Well, oftentimes just dropping them down into hypnosis is enough because they're now in that relaxed state, and they can't be fearful. Really, it's
Yeah, when
you
they're in
can't be
that
in
state.
hypnosis and in fear at the same time. It doesn't work.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, so giving them the tools so that they can use it any moment.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Good. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Anyone else like to share?
I can share a little bit.
Yeah. Hello, Marla.
Hi. So I'm primarily a body worker, but also a hypnotist. So one of the things that I think has kind of been most striking to me, especially with the folks who are doing like the shelter in place and things like that, is like a lot of them have like this lack of touch, lack of connection now. And so in kind of a shared space, something like this, where people can kind of connect into some of those key areas on their own, whether it's like the thymus or the kidneys, maybe if they have like one of those little microwavable heating things at home for like the kidney area, while kind of focusing in on that. Kind of the spleen that's filtering a lot of that blood for the immune system, the liver likewise, and even things like the kidneys again, kidney adrenals, like more specifically how they connect in with like that whole HPA axis thing, and being able to, maybe noticing like in the body if like there's tension around the adrenals, like allowing that to kind of relax and drop back a bit. That can influence sleep, perhaps. That can influence relaxation, or noticing with the breath. Kind of that. I think one of the things I noticed is under a lot of stress, some people, they maybe get a little stuck on the inhale, or maybe they get a little stuck on the exhale. And so maybe noticing that if one tries to inhale indefinitely, it doesn't work. At some point, for each of those expansions, there's going to be a little bit of an opposing kind of contraction that happens.
Polarity.
And so, I just kind of noticing that, and maybe one could even carry that out into life a bit, like noticing like, oh, for each of these, worry, fear inhales that we have, at some point that's going to let go. And we're going to kind of go back in the other direction into that exhale. Perhaps it'll be a more full exhale, knowing that, and kind of going on and on. with those sorts of things. But
Mhm.
the breath is a resource, maybe connecting in with the body. Again, kind of like it was Paul, I think, said, kind of getting out of the head and like more like fully embodying as a way of kind of finding that calm and that clarity, like, yeah, that kind of stuff.
Nice, good. Thank you. I had one as well. I don't know if anyone else is wanting to share. That I actually noticed myself doing an NLP process that can be done in NLP or even probably in hypnosis as well, or as a self-hypnosis. Is I hadn't used this forever. It's something I would use on an airplane, which we can't do anymore right lately. But I noticed I did it twice this week actually with clients, and I thought, oh, I'll share this one. Have you guys heard I think it's called like anchor integration or collapsing anchors. So so I'll kind of walk you through. I made sure it was 5 minutes to kind of walk you through. I noticed this, it was two different clients that are very much into this. Well, what if this happens? And then what if this happens? What if I lose my job? What if my husband loses my job? And then and then I get sick, and then I and then it just, and it was so focused on the negative. And you don't want them to, as Lisa said, if you tell them, don't think about the negative, of course, where are they going to go, right? But so I kind of envision, it's like, if you have all this negative, it's like a red ball, and you try to keep it underwater, don't think about it, that ball is going to keep popping when you're not, when you're distracted. And so it's nice to just lift that ball and describe the whole thing, and it really releases the energy. So the exercise is actually to have them close their eyes and place their elbows or on the arm, the chair arms, or, where you are on your table, putting your hands down. And the first thing to do is to lift in a fist your dominant arm, the one you use for writing, and envision the best thing that can happen due to the coronavirus, and let them just start speaking. And as they speak, it's like, okay, well, this is going to happen. Okay, well, I actually discover that I love being alone. And then what's the best thing that can happen because of that? And then what's the best thing that happened? And how does that make, your society so amazing? And what is the best thing that can happen with your job due to that? And what is the best thing that can happen in your relationships because of this? And what is the best thing that can happen with that? And even beyond that, what will that bring that's even more important into your life? And really get them, because they don't go here, right? Really get them to explore the best thing that can happen because of this. And just pump it up and pump it up and pump it up. And then when you notice it starts tapering, they're like president and who knows what, then you have them lower that arm, open their eyes, maybe look around a moment, then close again and raise the other hand into a fist. And now let them really let out the worst thing. What if the worst thing that can happen because of the coronavirus? And you really let them keep going. And you let them go, and you let them go. And it's interesting is at first they're like, oh my God, and they've got so much energy here that you think, oh my gosh, I think I've opened a Pandora box. But as you keep going, and then what? And then what's the worst that can happen because of that? And then what's the worst? You'll actually notice it kind of tapers. It gets to the point that they're either dead and, floating in angels, or they committed suicide, or, or everybody around them is dead. But you'll notice it gets to the point that they really let it all out. And then you have them breathe and take that down. And look around a moment, kind of breaking state. And then you have them lift both at the same time and take a breath in. And this is the collapsing of the anchors. And then you always have them bring down the negative, the hand with the negative. So you start with the positive and you end with a positive. And just ask them, and now, what is it like as you think of coronavirus? What's interesting, it's like, their minds kind of want to go there, and then it keeps coming a little bit more to this, and then you can have them lower their hand, and it really lets all that out, but it also lets them see another area that they're not usually very focused on. And I've used it twice this week. I used it with, with another hypnotherapist. I was thinking what's going to happen with my office. And then I used it with someone who has a lot of issues with chronic disease, and so much is happening in her body. And all this corona thing is just, she's just thinking, now one more thing to deal with. And she was just like, this is like 7 years of just nightmares and storms, and I should just end this. And so it was like, okay, just let it rip, and afterwards she's like, oh, it feels so good to just let it out, and not everyone is like, oh, don't think about that, don't think, and actually giving her the opportunity to go, wow, this gives me an opportunity to just, I might die anyways, I might as well just be myself. And then that I just, it was very beautiful. And it gives them an exercise that they can do as well. I actually, in the session, I just recorded just the questions and sent it to them, so that when they, when they get into that again, they can just do it again, Yes, Paul.
Did you say that you start with the good? And I mean, I've seen this done before, not exactly
Yes.
the way.
Think of a sandwich always. Start with the good,
The bad, and the good.
then down, then the bad. Together is the collapsing of the anchors,
Right.
and then put the bad down.
Yeah.
Some people do it with their hands on their knees, one hand on the knee, the other hand, and then lift. But yeah,
But
either one.
when they're doing both, when you're asking, when they bring up both, then you say,
Just
what's the
breathe.
worst? What's the
No,
best?
just breathe. Just breathe. At that moment, it's subconscious.
So you let that all just perk what they
it just
do.
cancels
And
it.
when do you
Yeah,
put down the bad hand though? What's the transition?
you just have them breathe for a moment, and you'll notice a relaxation of everything. That's all you're doing. You're just letting this is now at the conscious level. You're collapsing the anchors.
Right.
And then lower. And once they just have the positive up, then you can say, and now, what's it like to think about the coronavirus?
But I'm missing one piece. How did you instruct them to let the hand go down when you're done with this?
As they do this, just take a breath in, relax. All right. And now put down the left hand if they're right-handed.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And breathe into that.
You just trust the subconscious. You don't even say anything about it. You just say, put down that hand.
Yeah, you're not saying anything. You're letting it's now become anchored in these two hands. Right. You're now collapsing the anchors.
Right.
Without saying anything. And then putting keeping the other one up, without even mentioning this hand, just talk again about it. Just briefly, and then let them down, and then you talk about something else.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's good to vent. I always, with my clients, I do a lot of, name the elephant in the room, just name it. I do teach them how to name it. If you name it like, oh my gosh, this thing, you're going to get your whole body. But if you say, oh my gosh, or if you sing it, oh my gosh, there's a thought, it won't engage the body. And if it doesn't engage the body, it won't, because if they get all like this, and then it actually gets their body into freeze, and they feel their body freezing, then they go, oh, the body froze. And then the body goes, ah, they're freaking out. And then they're like, ah, the body's freaking out. And the body's like, ah, they're freaking out, and then they will get into panic attack. I mean, it's the perfect ingredient. So if they, with their mind, can say, will I die? Pacing the words, it won't engage the body, and they can call whatever elephant is in the room or whatever fears they have. As long as they don't engage the body, it won't get them into that outward spin. If you look at the news, they're not talking calmly to you. They're like, because now, and latest events is that, they're including all this speed and velocity, like it's happening now, and and you want to teach your clients to actually pace their words per breath, and it won't engage the body, it won't get them into panic. Well, if anyone else has anything to share, if not, I want to thank you so much for coming. It was just something that just on Monday, it's like, this has to happen. You know, we got to start sharing here. This, yes, you're welcome. Thanks. And thank you all for being here. I will post this. So if you guys want to have, you know, some remembrance of, you know, or use some of this to inspire yourselves. I think this is a great moment to reach out to your community. And, you know, I think as Lisa said, send people short little things to use. I coordinate an MS support group, and I do always every month a little something at the end of their meeting just to give them tools. And so, yeah, I'll be thinking about what we talked about so that I can bring my tools and you guys' tools to my next group meeting.
Did you say you're going to send us a link to this recording?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we have it. I think Zoom has all you guys' emails, so I will send them to all of you. And if not, I'll send a newsletter. Since you guys receive this with a newsletter, keep your eyes open for Mind-Based Healing. I'll send it there. Yeah, good. And I was just quickly see if anyone's interested. I have been talking to a few people, a few hypnotherapists, that they had questions like, should I use video? Is video important? And, you know, how to get myself online? How do you use email? With, you know, being HIPAA and all this other panic. And, you know, I don't know if anyone else is interested to do also a brainstorm of how to be online, you know, how to bring your practice completely online.
I do that already, but I would love to be in part of that, because I'm to learn.
Yes, exactly. We could share, hey, I use this, I use Acrobat Sign, or I use, you know, Zoom, or
for example, if you don't set people up ahead of time with certain things, you're going to get the funniest weird sessions, like cats running around and, you know, the wrong chair and they're falling on the floor. I mean, it's hilarious.
Yeah, great. All right, so we can do a session on that just to get us all in this kind of field, because I have a feeling we'll be doing this off and on for a year. All right, so thank you everyone, and enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
All.